Every month, for those who have PlayStation Plus memberships, Sony offers a bunch of free games that you can download and play as long as you continue to have the PlayStation Plus subscription. And most of the time, the games are pretty good. I know that myself, I've gotten Little Big Planet 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Day of the Tentacle, Grim Fandango, and a bunch of other really good games. Now, some of them can be very obscure. I had no idea what Grim Fandango or Broforce was before I picked it up, and I'm happy that I got it. It's a lot of fun. However, once in a while, you're going to get those games that aren't so good. And unfortunately, for this month, one of the free games was Mighty Number 9. And you know what? I thought I'd try it. Now, most people by now know the story of Mighty Number 9, so I'm going to give a basic breakdown of what happened. So the original director of Mega Man is no longer with Capcom, so he decided that he was going to use the famous crowdfunding website Kickstarter and use that as a medium to create a new game. A game that was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Mega Man. And there was a lot of money dumped into that. Millions of dollars were put in by fans who wanted a genuine Mega Man game, who haven't received one in the longest time. Now, everything on paper looked great. You had a strong fan base that was willing to just throw money. You had the director of the original game. And, you know, Mega Man spouted off countless sequels and reimaginings and all these different series. So there was a lot of potential. But, as everyone knows, it all went south. And because Mighty Number 9 was free, I decided to play it. And you know what? I'm happy that I didn't have to pay for it. Mighty Number 9 is a very sad story. It's a story of how people with dreams and goals of creating something and reliving something that was very important to them in their childhood, how those dreams got abused by, a corporation slash, entity that just wanted more money and squeezed the life out of all these people who are throwing millions of dollars for this brand new Mega Man style game. And what's sad is just that the end result was so disappointing. So how does it compare to the original Mega Man? Well, let's start off with the story. The story is essentially the same of any Mega Man game. There's one robot, in this case it's Beck, the Mighty Number 9, and his goal is to defeat all of the other Mighty Number robots that have been magically inflicted with this mysterious disease that makes them go crazy. And the whole ooh, it's a disease, it's just a ripoff of Mega Man 10 with Roboenza. So the game starts off similarly to a Mega Man X game, if you can believe it, where you're running along this open area, and you get introduced to the characters, and I gotta say, the cutscenes get really annoying. I would have much preferred if this game, instead of using voice actors, it just had text like most of the Mega Mans did before Mega Man 7 came in. It was voice acting everywhere. You get a voice and you get a voice. And the sad part about the voice acting is that the voice actors are really talented. I mean, most of the Mighty Numbers are voice actors that I've heard of. The one that surprised me the most was Steve Bloom. They got Steve Bloom, the voice of Spike Spiegel and Zabuza from Naruto, to do this sniper robot, and he sounds awesome because it's Steve Bloom, right? The dude's awesome, he knows what he's doing. But everything around is so underwhelming. Good voice acting is not going to save a bad game. And all the Mighty robots are like that, and it's such a shame that they paid all this money to get all these people who were probably really excited to be a part of the project, and they were just let's get some good voice actors. So the voice acting is pretty decent, though the script is a little terrible. And the cutscenes can take a lot longer than they should, and they do tend to drag on, which can be frustrating. So how about the gameplay? The gameplay when you start off is not necessarily bad. In fact, one might say it's positively adequate. It feels like a Mega Man game, but there's like this crispness, this little itty bitty tweaks to how the character moves that makes you blatantly aware that it's not a Mega Man game. The original Mega Man on the Nintendo Entertainment System has tighter controls than Mighty Number 9. And that's really, really upsetting. That's something that had millions of dollars thrown into it, and all this time, and all these past games to look upon, couldn't get the movement down right. Now, the main character, Beck, he doesn't have the same powers as Mega Man in a way. For example, he has no Mega Buster, which I thought was a shame. You know, I really wish there was some kind of charge shot, but unfortunately there isn't. And he does have a dash, but instead of doing like the kick that Mega Man, he like runs forward like Bass from Mega Man and Bass. But see, the thing about his charge forward is that it's not really just a charge. What it does is it's supposed to like suck up the cells, spelled X-E-L, from damaged enemies, and you like kill them, but like not really. And I thought that was kind of neat on paper. The idea of like assimilating the corrupted cells of the robot does sound really good on paper. But in execution, it doesn't quite work. See, what made Mega Man so much fun is that when you destroyed a robot, you destroyed that robot. He ain't coming back. And then, you know, you sucked up his power, and that was really cool. But you knew that fighting the boss, you were going to kill him. In this game, it's like, ooh, we need to save them. Let's all be friends and hold hands. So every boss fight, instead of killing the mighty number, what you do is you just suck up all their bad cells and absorb their power. So the controls of the game are not as tight as the originals, or any of the Mega Man games, really. So what about the level design? Very mediocre. There's no like super intrinsic platforming or super memorable design. It's just kind of bland. And I guess that really describes the game as a whole. It's just... So now let's talk about the character designs. So when you look at Mega Man, you see like the different shades of blue, and you see, you know, he's got a sleek design, he's slender, and he looks really, really cool. Like, and when he changes colors with his, you know, new power-ups, like that's always interesting because there's always like different shades of Mega Man. It just looks really cool. He's a very appealing character. Very similar to how Sonic the Hedgehog is a very cool looking character. I think Mega Man fits in that same category too. And you see that with Beck from Mighty Number 9, they tried to emulate the whole Mega Man thing, but it just came out bland. Like, instead of using any shades of any colors, he's just gray, white, and black, which isn't necessarily bad, but there's not even like any interesting designs on him. He's just like, kind of looks like a little toy you make out of like little pieces or like pipes or something like that. And he's just not a good looking character. Like, he looks more like a random NPC than the hero of the story that he's supposed to be. Now, to be fair, I do think that the boss fights, the other Mighty Numbers, I think they have pretty interesting designs. I think that the graphics and the animation would have made them look a little better if some more time was spent in, but the designs are somewhat memorable. And of course, with memorable designs such as the Fire Lord from Avatar: The Last Airbender, we got Big Daddy from BioShock, we got JJ the Jet Plane over here, and of course we have Ghost Sniper Wolf Steve Bloom. And I do have to give credit where credit is due. I do think the bosses do look okay. They look a lot better than the main character is supposed to. And again, with what I've been saying before, that's what makes it very disappointing. So the gameplay's bland, the level designs are bland, the character designs are except for the bosses. Is there any redeeming quality to this game whatsoever? Well, for me it was free. But even then, it's not really worth it. Honestly, I think you're better off just going back and playing the original Mega Man games instead of playing this one. It feels like a cheap Chinese knockoff of some toy that you really want. Like, imagine, you know, when you were a kid, how like everybody wanted a Power Ranger, right? But then there was that one kid who got like the cheap Chinese version of that Power Ranger from like a store at the boardwalk or something like that. And it just looks bad, and you know it's not supposed to be the same. so the kid doesn't even play with it. And that's what Mighty Number 9 is. It's a cheap rip-off of a beloved franchise that costed millions of dollars to make. Now, I'm not a game designer. I'm just a video game player. So I would have no idea on how to make it better. I have no idea how to fix something that maybe shouldn't have even been started to begin with. But I do know this. Hopefully, what we learn is that not every game that you fund with Kickstarter is going to be worth it. And just because someone has prestige or someone's worked on a project before doesn't mean they can run the whole project by themselves with a brand new team. Maybe if the creator of Mega Man, while making Mighty Number 9, had every person that he had on his team, from designers to game engineers to test players for the game, maybe it would have turned out better. But just because he was the director doesn't mean that he is the one that creates everything. It's his vision, but you need the artist to help bring that vision to life. So, I got Mighty Number 9, played it, didn't like it, deleted it. It's just one of those games that's going to go down as one of the worst video game stories ever in history. Maybe with the new Mega Man game that's coming out with Capcom, maybe it'll be good. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about Mega Man, even though I had to play Mighty Number 9 to do it. This has been another episode of Kirk Talk, and I will see you guys in the next one.